Hello there. Thanks for coming. Take a seat. Today on Shut Up and Sit Down, we're going to be looking at...
Pow! Boom! Ah, yes! I have been looking forward to this reprint for 5 years!
Today we're going to be looking at Container.
5 years!
Would you like to tell the people why you're so excited?
Matt, I would like to see you try and stop me.
Well, I'm not going to do that, so...
You're a beautiful and clever man. Container is a game about who can make the most money, but where everybody's businesses represent a closed economy. If you bet your bum and then lose your bum on a terrible business decision, not only is nobody coming to give you a new bum, your friends will then own your bum, so pay attention. Players in Container get 2 actions a turn. You might spend an action building a factory, or producing containers at all your factories and deciding on their price. You always pay $1 to manufacture, so let's say you set their price at $2. Anyone else at the table can then buy those containers from your factories, moving them to their dockside warehouses and setting new prices. So if they bought them from you at $2, they might sell them at $3. Anyone except this player can then sail their cargo ship into dock and buy those things. Finally, a player can sail their ship into the harbour of the island nation where you all live, at which point all of the containers on your ship are auctioned. Each player is dealt a secret card at the start of the game telling them how much each of these containers is worth to them. A container that might be worth a fortune to you might be worth nothing to your neighbour. Players then secretly decide how much of their hard cash they can afford to spend on these endgame points, and the owner of the ship takes all of that money. Then, the island nation subsidizes the delivery and pays them the winning bid again. So, simply put, this economy is made up of players manufacturing, then players warehousing, then players shipping, and finally someone buying. This financial slugfest comes to an end when 2 colors of container have run out, which should take you around 2 hours.
But, Quinns, you did have to use some cool video effects over your basic description of what the game is, just to stop it from sounding incredibly boring.
It's true, but here's the twist. The basic elevator pitch for Container is very different from how the game actually plays.
That's true. It's almost unbelievable that something this dry can play in a way which feels wildly nonsensical. It's like a wonderful car crash. The day starts at our factories. We've spent all of our money on 3 of them, pricing our containers at a reasonable $2. Someone else at the table will then come and buy our... Oh no! They've gone and visited our horrible neighbour instead, who made containers but priced them $1 cheaper. So when our turn comes around again, we've made $0. Well, actually no, we bought those factories, so now we've made negative $15, and now we're flipping through the manual to see if there's any specific rule for setting fire to your own property and getting some of the money back via insurance fraud. No, there is not. But the good news is, no one else is making any money either. You see, the one player who invested the most money in warehouses and bought all of the containers has priced their containers very highly, and now nobody wants to sail into their fortress of scams and make them rich. The only hero in this story is the green player, who's been laboriously just sailing into everyone else's warehouses, buying a container here, one there, and now look, they've sailed their boat to the island majestically, ready to auction them all off and make a ton of money. In a tense moment, everyone decides what to bid, and the highest bid from this hurting table of players is $3. Subsidized by the island, that player would earn $6 for containers that they paid $9 for, so they've made a profit. No, they've lost $3. Oh, flip this, they decide, buying the boat of containers themselves for $3, but meaning that they don't get the government subsidy added, which means that the total money now in the game just went down by $3. Oh, less economy, less problems. That will surely grease the wheels of this smooth machine.
So you see, Container is a game that's endured since 2007 for a few reasons. It's a fabulously rich economic game with very simple rules that's very fast to set up and has decadent low numbers. You see, this isn't like Arkwright or Power Grid where you have to work out, what's 16 plus 32? No, you're doing... I make a profit of 3 and an expense of 4, which means, oh God, I'm losing money. And this is what makes Container feel revolutionary. Most economic board games tend to be about efficiency, with everyone getting somewhere. Whereas in Container, you're not totting up the merits of different paths towards points. You're trying not to be crushed in the game's machinery. You're loosening your tie and wondering how to tell your partner that you just took out a second loan to pay off the interest on the first loan.
We always say it's good in a board game if you're paying attention to other players' turns. And in Container, other players' turns are the game, which is great. So let's just say you've built a bunch of warehouses, and then on someone else's turn, they start to build more warehouses, and then you look at that and you can't help but be mildly terrified, because the slight profit that you've nurtured that's coming in every turn quite reliably, well, if you're not careful, someone else can just flatline that. Believe it or not, this is not a mean game. It's just a wild animal in the fact that, yes, sometimes it will just kill you, but at other times it might lick your gaping wounds of your bank account and make you feel good and cuddle you up like a little cub. Look, you're going to have turns in this in which you buy something and immediately go, oh my gosh, why did I pay that for that? I'm ruined. But then you're also going to have turns where somebody just buys everything you've got and you think, ha ha. You're going to have turns where you're going to go and have an auction and you're going to get pennies for it and it's going to be disastrous. But then also you're going to have a turn where you slowly sail your ship into the island and you think, well, I'd be happy if I got 10 for that lot. And then somebody bids 12 and with a subsidy, that's doubled to 24 and oh my gosh, what just happened?
In fact, in lasting 2 hours, a game of Container has comparable highs and lows to a movie where everything can be fine and then everything becomes terrible and then everything goes well. It all pays off. Lots of games have a kind of puzzle landscape where everything can be easy and then it gets steeper and harder. Container has something more like an emotional landscape.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching a Coen Brothers film play out in front of you. You can have the player who's playing really well, who finds himself suddenly going, how on earth did I end up in this much debt? And then by the same merit, you can have somebody who is a complete idiot, who finds himself with more money than they have any idea what to do with. You're constantly trying your best, stomping on other people's plans by accident, and it's never cruel. There's no teeth to it. You never feel like you've really shafted someone else. It's just business, and it's absurd. The absurdity of it is unreal, that when you have this situation where the economy just locks up, you all just stand around in a circle, desperately trying to do whatever you can to get it going again.
5 people stood around a bus, all of whom want to get it going, and you're all kicking it. And maybe one person's kicking it harder because they haven't sold anything for 3 turns.
I really need this bus to get going again. The bus was beautiful, the bus was my friend, and now it's dead.
But we should stress, as fun and silly as this game is, as you might guess from looking at it, my goodness, it's not for everyone. You see, usually when we talk about games not being for everyone, what we're saying is like, this game has a lot of rules. Maybe if you're not confident with board games, it might not be for you. Container is something different. It has less rules than some card games we recommend. And yet some people just cannot get their heads around it.
No, and it's impossible to know before you start whether or not it's going to be for you or not. If only there was some sort of test that we could devise to work out whether or not people can hack something like this.
Like the Kobayashi Maru, but instead of being for Starfleet captains, it's for simulated businessmen.
Yeah, imagine if we could envision something like that, perhaps after a short piece of music on a harp.
Captain, there's an enemy vessel approaching.
Give me a report on engines.
We have 6 engines minus 4. How many is that, Captain?
That's 2 engines. Set phases.
Captain, what's 8 minus 6?
2. What is...
Captain, if we have 4 Klingon eggs we have bought for €4, and then we sell them all for €2, and then we buy 6 more eggs for €3, how many euros have we lost? Captain, our shields are 100% bad. Captain, if we have a fire in engines, plus another fire...
That was silly and not at all informative.
Well, look, maybe we should just say that you're probably the kind of person who loves Container if you like the idea of shrewdly noticing that you think your friend's containers valued at 3 are underpriced. And you sail in and you buy them, and you go to the island and you auction them off back to them. And they've got the containers that you bought and you've made 2, 4, 6, 8.
Or maybe you enjoy this game and love this game like I do, just because it's like gently bobbing away on a dinghy of chaos. You make these things here, and then they have to go here, and then they go here, and then they go here, and then you might make some money, or you might be screwed. And here's the crucial thing in this game. If you're not the sort of person who will happily sit for 15 minutes just being completely screwed and not being able to do anything and making no money, if you can't laugh about that quite quickly, then this game is going to be very frustrating, or maybe just very boring.
Also, let's not lose perspective, you and me. This is exciting to us because we love design, and what a design. But to most people, this box cover is like a parody of boring board games. I think I'm about to birth one of the weirdest concluding sentences I've ever said.
Oh gosh, do you want me to go and boil some water?
No, I think I...
Come on, here it comes.
On the condition the container looks in no way boring to you, it might well be one of the most exciting games you've ever played.
It is superb.
It is awesome.
So, do we recommend it then?
Well, hang on.
Indeed. It is fantastic to see this game back in print, but heaven on a pedalo, this game is expensive. Going for about $90/pounds, twice as expensive as the original version. And what's the worst thing that something expensive can be? Cheap. You see, this game has a luxury price tag, but it doesn't feel like a luxury game. The cards are printed upside down, and to be blunt, the art direction in this game is fairly non-existent, and I'm really aware that saying that is quite a cruel thing to say, but I just don't really know how else to describe it. These player boards are so strangely bad that they genuinely mystify me, and it's depressing and unfortunate when you have a new edition of a game coming out with worse art and aesthetics than the original version. But yeah, it's just weird. Some of the things that have been done in Photoshop here, trying to unpick it it's like a Bermuda Triangle of good taste. It's like a cry for help from sentient clip art. Everything else ranges between Microsoft Publisher 97 and an infomercial for banking made of clay. And that's the end of me being mean, all right? But for a game that costs 90 of my English coins, I expect a game with decent art. So to paraphrase the film Jerry Maguire, Mr. Jeremy Maguire, where is my money?
But Matt, what about Food Chain Magnate, a game that was also expensive, also ugly, and we gave it a free pass 2 years ago?
Yes, that's true, although people will say that Food Chain Magnate is ugly, whereas I feel it has exactly the right amount and exactly the right type of art design for conjuring up that era. I don't think it's ugly at all. I think it is perfect in evoking what you want, but it is still incredibly expensive. I think the thing that sticks with this is with Food Chain Magnate, if you want that game, and you don't have to have it, if you want it, that's what it costs. Whereas with this, it didn't used to cost this much, and the new publishers have decided to make it cost this much. And why does it cost this much? Quinns, do you know why it costs this much?
It's a good question, Matt. So here at Shut Up and Sit Down, we have this joke that whenever we receive donation money, someone goes, "I'm spending it all on a boat." And that's just us having a bit of fun. But that's literally what they've done here. Most of the recommended retail price of Container is you buying these resin bath toys that don't even float. Listen, you know what the old version of Container had? It had these cute little wooden boats. And as part of this review, I went back and played with them. And you know what? They're fine. Fun even. And these things just feel like an indulgence, but not an indulgence for you, an indulgence for the publisher. I mean, yeah, you got to admit, it's fun pushing a big boat around, I guess.
I really like the big boats because the game can be quite slow and sometimes it takes a long time to do anything, but then you get to be like, the weight of pushing these things around makes the decisions feel really heavy, and they're kind of the perfect size and weight in some ways, even though that's ridiculous. They're kind of brilliant.
Yeah, kind of. But did you have to bring this copy of Container to your house today?
No.
No, who did? Who did?
You brought it to my house.
I did. And do you know what that experience was like?
Great.
It was nightmarish, Matthew, because this game is now so big and so heavy that it's just really awkward to transport.
Yeah, it probably would have been fine with small boats as well.
It would have been fine. I want to recommend this game more than we can. It's just that this edition, it doesn't even, as a £90 game, include the first game's like expansion modules, fun stuff like player loans and luxury containers. Instead, it adds the investment bank, which, speaking as a boring person who loves boring things, this module is so boring, I don't want to tell you about it.
Yeah, and I mean, but let's not be too mean, because the thing is, we do love this game.
I love this game!
As boring people, you must understand, this is one of the most exciting things that's happened to me before I decided to and completed my tax return like 9 months early.
Oh my gosh. Container is the most exciting thing that's happened to me since Matt bought me a power strip last week.
What a surprise.
Just out of nowhere.
Surprise present.
It was crazy.
It's like an extension lead. It's got like USB ports in it.
What's the name of the fast one?
Qualcomm. Yeah, it's a special kind of USB charge. Charges your phone in like half an hour. It's a really solid piece of... We are so boring.
It's so boring.
But if you're like us, this game might just be the right ticket. We just wish they'd done more to help us. Some better art design, some more stuff in the box.
And here's the thing, I can roll my eyes at the fact that Mercury Games have kept off from including some of the expansion stuff because they're going to do another Kickstarter probably that adds an expansion for this. But you know what? I can complain, but I'm going to buy that expansion because that's how good this game is.
Yeah, I just can't completely recommend it. Anyway, if you would like to...
I swear it wasn't so long ago that I liked games with dragons in. I think doing this job has corrupted me and made me more boring.
You think we're getting more boring as we get older?
You know what? You might be getting more boring, my friend. I'm out of here. I'm going to go be young again!
Well, if you'd like to follow me getting gradually more boring in board gaming, then you could do that. You could like this video and subscribe. We've also got some other videos you could watch. You could watch a video about Food Chain Magnate or something else. Thank you. Bye.